Mad. I'ma feed 5-4 fun, money making animal. Don't put me in.
I'm not the average girl from the video. Can it be sensed by the size of my clothes? I think that's how it go. Because I am a queen. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ask Mad Show. I am Mad, your Duke of Tribal Kingdom, international man of leisure, the Caesar of the universal players, and secret agent man giving you the game on all things, man. And that little tune you just heard wasn't new. No. That's when I was a little bitty boy. When I was a little bitty boy, it was a lady that came out by the name of Arie. And Arie was different because it wasn't about what she looked like. It was about what she said and how she sounded that made you pay attention to her, right? And that was something unique, not just for the time period, but it seems like that's something unique in this post-soul era, right? What do I mean by post-soul era? I feel like as Black Americans right now in this time, we're living in a post-soul era where at one point in our lineage, right, there was this thing called soul. Hey, what's up, man? Hey, brother, how you doing? You can hear it on the Marvin Gaye record. When you hear that Marvin say, I used to go out to party and just stand around 'cause I was too nervous to really get down. But my body let me free. I put up on a song now for somebody to choose me. Long as you're grooving, there's always a chance. Somebody watching might try to make romance. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was soul. You know what I'm saying? Moving your body, feeling the beat. You know what I'm saying? And that was us. We had that on lock. The world had never even heard of that before. They had never felt that before. Nowhere in the world had they heard of it, had they felt it, and we had it, man. You know what I'm saying? It was an integral part of our identity as Black people here in America. And not just what we felt and how we, expressed that, but what we thought. You know what I mean? How we interacted with each other, how we talked to each other. Hey, brother, hey, how you doing? You know what I'm saying? Hey, my sister, hey, how you doing? You know what I'm saying? That was soul, man, because it was something deep. It was, deeper than rap. You know what I'm saying? It was deeper. It was something, way beneath the surface that we were able to telepathically communicate with each other. But it wasn't just telepathy, right? It was the vibe and the feeling of not just self-appreciation and self-worth, but appreciation from a cultural standpoint and giving the culture its dignity and value. You know what I mean? Now, I brought up the whole Arie thing, obviously because of the Young Miami controversy in the song. Spin that shit. And it's not the song itself, but it's the controversy surrounding the song. Now, it may have its root in the song and in the lyrics of the song and the spirit of the song, but I don't think that the song on its own is that big of an issue, especially for the larger collective. It's the implications and the impact of the song that could be a potential problem, right? Where you seeing school buses full of kids singing this song, and we're going to get to that, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to show a whole bunch of videos, and we're going to react to these videos and everything that's surrounding this song, but I want to look at it from a different standpoint, not to just point at the song and point at the lyrics, but to see what's the inception or how would something like this even come to be if we come from the era of soul? And that's why this has to be post-soul. And they want to call it neo-soul, and that's where Arie come in, because there was a resurgence of soul. And Arie was a part of that in what was called neo-soul. And you had a lot of different people in neo-soul, and she was probably towards the end, or not towards the end, but later on, because you had that explosion in the mid 90s with neo soul and artists like Erykah Badu and Jill Scott and just, a whole bunch of others, right? Music Soul Child, you know what I'm saying, who were bringing back their version of it. But I just be honest with you, man, it don't really compare to the soul of before, man. You know what I'm saying? Whether that's Marvin Gaye or even Curtis Mayfield, you know what I mean? And those artists back then just felt different. So that's why you listen to the music, it feels different, you know what I mean? And soul music just being one aspect, but most of the artistic expression from black people back then had soul in it. You know what I mean? Whether it was soul music or, R&B music, right? Or if it was spoken word, Gil Scott-Heron and folk like that. Now, he might came a little bit later. I'm not too sure on that. Don't quote me on that. But you still get it. You know what I mean? Righteous teachers and whatnot. Just that level of spirituality and brotherhood from people, you know what I mean, that particularly were able to conjure that spirit and spread it throughout the people, man, to where everybody felt it, you know what I mean? James Brown, people like that. And that's just one thing. That was the musical aspect, you know what I'm saying? You also had soul food. You know what I'm saying? The way that we described our food even had soul in it. And you get this phrase, where they say, she put her foot in it. You know what I'm saying? When you eat some food that's so good that it just don't make no sense. So you say something that don't make no sense. Be like, boy, you put your foot in this. Well, who want to eat something somebody's foot done been in? Only black American people would say that, and it's a form of expression. Not literally. You go over there to India or something, they really put their feet in your food. Yeah, I was seeing them street people in India cooking food, man. And how they even they stir it with their toes and things. Don't nobody want that foot in their food. You know what I'm saying? And peace to all the people in the diaspora or whatever. But no, that's a black American phrase. You put your foot in that. You know what I'm saying? And it derives from that element of soul that we got. Just naturally that other people don't. And that don't really shine through today. You know what I'm saying? And it's not just with the youth. See, everybody will point at the youth. And Young Miami, I believe, is in her 30s. And even though she's a grown adult, she's a fully grown adult woman, she would be categorized under the youth because of the fact that they behave like teenagers, essentially, or just people in their early 20s. There's an arrested development where people don't advance or elevate past a certain level. And I don't know if it's cognitive. I don't know if it's cultural. But, we're going to dissect what all of that could possibly be. You know what I mean? And somebody like me, yeah, I've always been attracted to, like, modest women with flair. Right? Modesty, but you got to have an element of flair. The modesty ain't homely. So don't get that messed up. This ain't about being homely and unattractive, but it's about not revealing everything, leaving something to the imagination. But you got enough flair to where that ain't all I'm thinking about. That ain't no big distraction. You know what I'm saying? Because you showing everything, including your fingers and toes, But somebody that's conservative, right? Conservative in their values, conservative in how they present themselves, obviously intelligent, able to have a conversation and comprehend the things that's coming out of my mouth because I speak with a certain vernacular. You know what I mean? And you might be able to get hip to some of this here game, but if you can't understand because you have low comprehension skills, then we ain't gonna mix. You know what I'm saying? We're not gonna be able to get together in the best ways. And also somebody that's stylish, you know what I mean? Where we can go just about anywhere and any place and turn heads because that's a part of our soul, if you want to think about it. That's always been a part of that cultural, not representation, but cultural identity. You got to have style, man. And it was all about style, And I've spent time around people who were more explorative, you know what I'm saying? Women who were more revealing, you know what I mean? In the way that they dress, you know what I'm saying? A little bit more promiscuous, but I never took those types seriously. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's something that's just fun for somebody like me, a temporary substitute for the time being, you know what I mean? Just something that was really few and far between. And it wasn't something that I did like all the time. And even the kind of people that I hung around who was like this, right? I just considered them to be a homegirl. Like, oh, that's my homegirl. That's my homie. You know what I'm saying? Like, not nothing closer than that, because that just wasn't something that I was attracted to. But I can understand and I can tolerate to a certain degree. You know what I'm saying? I can tolerate spin that shit, or the people that gravitate toward that energy in a certain capacity. You know what I'm saying? It's literally tolerate. You know what I'm saying? It's not appreciate, it's literally tolerate, because I like to have fun. You know what I mean? I've been known to be a wild boy sometimes, at a party, at a gathering or something like that. But all within the confines of dignity and respect. It starts to get into a territory where it's not respectable and it's undignified. And that's just something I can't get with. But just somebody who themselves, they just express themselves a little bit more vulgar. They got a little bit more vulgarity than what I'm attracted to. That don't mean I'm going to look at that person sideways. It's just somebody that I would consider to be a homegirl type. You know what I mean? And so the controversy surrounding this Young Miami song, it don't make me see her or the song as a problem, but it asks a bigger question. And it goes along with soul and everything else, right? So everybody who reacted to the song, they've been using it as an opportunity to point out what's been going on and what's been going wrong with the culture, what's been going wrong with society. And they not looking at it necessarily from a standpoint of how things used to be in the positive. They want to keep pointing out, well, this been going on. We've been had songs like this, and we grew up at this time, and this song was out. Like Lil Duval gonna post a video about these little kids singing, "Yo mama's on crack, yo mama's on the crack pipe," like just something from the 1980s. But what he failed to mention is that was a song about not doing drugs. You know what I'm saying? Making people feel shamed and, putting some type of shame on anybody who's doing that type of drug, because the implications are far reaching. You know what I'm saying? If everybody's sitting around smoking crack in the 80s and don't nobody say something, then that can make the kids think it's okay, or that that's the way that they ought to go. And so a song like that don't qualify. They speak about, Uncle Luke and what he had going on with the Supreme Court, and now you got parental advisory stickers on all explicit music, because 2 Live Crew was putting out very explicit music. You know what I'm saying? I don't know the songs that they got. That's old, but Doodle Brown or whatever they was talking about. You got to lick it before you stick it. I don't know what they was talking about. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of songs from back then, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it wasn't necessarily about stealing. See, I think y'all misconstruing stuff that's considered negative or considered to be just something that people should or shouldn't be advocating for. But certain people have certain morals that they draw the line at. So while they may not draw the line at somebody shaking their behind, they do draw the line at somebody stealing, or you advocating for people to go out and steal, and think that they finna be able to steal without getting caught. This ain't back in the day. So everybody that want to point at stuff that went on back in the day and how this and that was tolerated or whatever, this is not back in the day. This is not the same economy as back in the day. People don't have the same skills as back in the day. Not just, parenting skills, but work skills, social skills as back in the day. People are addicted to their phones. They don't even know how to talk to each other. You know what I mean? So you can't compare the bad things that was happening back in the day and justify the stuff that's happening now. We in a completely different time period. Y'all love to talk about it in the form of marriage and relationships, and how grandmama and them and granddaddy and them wasn't right for how they carried themselves. But that was a different time. You dig? That was a completely different time. You know what I'm saying? So as far as this time is concerned, I don't think that's the type of song that ought to be pushed toward the little children's, the little boys and girls on school buses, and the little boys and girls who are just now learning social skills, who are supposed to be learning other skills as they go, developmental skills, right? Math skills, science skills, so on and so forth. Instead of them learning the lyrics to spin that shit, they should be learning their times tables. You dig? They should be learning not only how to write cursive, but how to read it. Or just read, period. Like, they can't even read. You know what I'm saying? So one of the things that used to say, because we talking about soul, we talking about the Black American community. If you was running around singing a song, especially a song like that, somebody grown, they'll pop you or something and say, you can sing that, you can tell your ABCs. You know what I'm saying? Or you better do your times tables like you could, say this lyrics to this song. They would challenge you to be doing better in school, something academic, because that's distracting, singing songs like this, if it pop up on the radio or not. And just the lyrics itself. Now, I understand that the melody is catchy and it's very sing-songy, and so when they say they've been making songs like this, nah, they ain't been making songs like this, but they can make a song that's catchy and the negative elements of that song can get overlooked. So if that's true, then it's not a new phenomenon and she shouldn't be singled out for it, right? But that also suggests that this is something cultural. You know what I'm saying? That this is something that's been going on for quite some time, so it must be a part of our culture. But if that's the case, then the question I have to ask is, what is culture? Right? What is culture? You know what I mean? What is Black culture? What is white culture? What is Chinese culture? What is Italian culture? Polish culture? So on and so forth. With Asian, China. Like, what is culture? Right? Well, Dr. Neely Fuller Jr. defines culture as whatever you're doing whenever you're doing it. That's what he says culture is. Whatever you're doing whenever you're doing it. So it could be paradoxical. Where at one point, Black people had a soul culture, a connected culture where we were connected not just, through expression or art or fashion, but in spirit. We were connected in how we interacted with each other because of what happened to us here on this continent. You know what I'm saying? There was a necessary need for us to come together, and soul was birthed out of that. But that's paradoxical because you have the same group of people, presumably, but not even nowhere near the same amount of soul or connected energy. You know what I'm saying? You talk to most Black people today, you can't even say hi to them in the grocery store. I would go to Walgreens or something like that, or some other kind of grocery store, and I ain't lying to you, man. I see the people picking and choosing who they want to say hi to based on what they look like, right? So if it's a fat, short, dark-looking lady with basically bald head or some type of glue or something glued to her head or whatever, wig on top of her head, she'll talk to people who look similar to her. She'll say, hey, the people look similar to her. If you in there, you unkept, you walk in with a bonnet on or some house shoes or some pajama pants on, or if you also got a wig, you could even have your hair braided in style, whatever. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to be dirty or bum. But what I'm saying is if you come in there with some type of dignity and pride, she ain't going to speak to you. You have to speak to her. And if you do speak to her, she ain't going to look up at you. She going to ring up whatever you got to ring up and don't even tell you how much it costs. Just expect you to look at the little cash register thing to tell you how much money it is. And if you ain't spending cash, you going to swipe your card anyway. And won't tell you to have a good day. So that ain't soulful to me. You know what I'm saying? That ain't spiritual to me. That ain't no connectedness to me. It ain't got nothing to do with some preconceived notion or idea that, well, you have attitude or whatever. No. Y'all can make all the excuses y'all want to for who y'all selectively treat bad and why y'all choose to treat people a certain way based on what they look like. But I ain't no fool. No, I ain't no fool. I understand. And I won't grovel or submit. And that's the other part of it. I don't understand that part of culture where people want you to grovel or submit to them. They want you to prostrate yourself before them and ask them to accept you in some type of ritualistic way where they get to mistreat you. Yeah, you get to be around, but you get mistreated. Now, am I saying that there was never a time or a time in that soul period where that culture was strong and people didn't get mistreated? That's not what I'm saying. You will have your outliers, and I'm sure that maybe there was a reason for that. But just the everyday person, no, I don't believe that. And if you was an old fart or somebody who was around back then, if you somebody like Uncle Luke or Trick Daddy, because they was born around that time period, I'm assuming, the 50s and 60s or whatever, something like that. They lived through the 70s. They'll be able to say what it is and what it was, and whether or not people who were a part of our culture was not just freely expressing themselves, but loving each other and having a certain energy toward one another, based on the fact that white folks had their foot on our neck and they had a different energy for us. And ever since then, just about every group that came into the country had that energy about us, following behind white folks. The problem come in where we got that energy for each other. You know what I'm saying? The problem come in where you got to change up your whole rotation because the people around gonna start to look at you like food. And it ain't got nothing to do with being tough. It got everything to do with your lot in life and they position. You know what I mean? I didn't live through that time, but I talked to my uncle, yeah? And obviously my uncle lived through that time, but he didn't live past that. And he'll talk about, you know, throwing on his digs and getting real fly. And right before he go out to some nightclub or something, some disco, you know what I'm saying, before he go to the Roxy, you know what I'm saying? He'll come to the neighborhood and be politicking with the dope boys and the niggas in the hood, and then he'll go off and go do his thing and be somewhere, you know, he'll be somewhere partying and kicking it, and then he'll come back to the block and kick it with them before he go in for the night. Now, that's his story. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is that ain't the reality for us today. I think the older ones who lived through that time, they'll accept it from older ones who also lived through that time. But again, this ain't just affecting the youth. This is affecting everybody today, to where they'll hate on a young one who doing that. See, they'll allow it from somebody who older because for whatever reason, they must have looked at them like, well, whatever, who cares about what they doing? You know what I'm saying? But somebody young in their prime doing it like that, nah, you're going to have to get fly and jiggy and go to where you going and go home. You're not finna be able to go, because they look at it like you trying to, you know, show out in front of them. You know what I'm saying? They look at it like you trying to hold something over their head, as in, yeah, look what I got. You ain't got it. Now, that's all in their mind. It's all psychological. They tricking themselves and telling themselves that that's what you doing. But in reality, you just showing love. Ain't no love. You know what I'm saying? With that mug, we saying streets ain't got no love. You know what I'm saying? Love will get you killed. But at one point in time, our people was able to express love unless you was in the dope game. You know what I'm saying? Unless you was in the street. You know what I'm saying? And even then, they also had rules and regulations. It's a free-for-all today. This the Wild Wild West. Everything go. Ain't no rules and regulations. You know what I'm saying? You better go check that back door, see if it's open. Because somebody might have left it open. You dig what I'm saying? You got to watch and be on top of everything today. And it's soulful, but it's lonely. It's lonesome. So it ain't no connected tissue. It ain't no spiritual connection with your people. And so that goes into everything else. It goes into the music because let me see. I'm trying to see exactly how that works, right? So look. If culture is defined as whatever you're doing, whenever you're doing it by Dr. Neely Fuller Jr., then the general public would have to tell themselves how they are participating in a particular culture, right? That would be based on whatever they doing, whenever they doing it. And so as far as music is concerned, can your culture be defined by the music that it produces or the music that it creates? Right? What about people who don't necessarily engage in the music of their said culture? Can you belong to a different culture? Right? Does it work the same way with food? Does it work the same way with the way people dress? Because that's what people would define as cultural. Artistic expression, so on and so forth. They would say, yeah, it's black culture to wear bonnets and shit like that. They would say it's black culture to eat baby back ribs and chicken wings with salt, pepper, and mild sauce on them. They would say it's black culture to twerk and listen to songs like Spin That Shit. Or if you want to go back to, you know, just other time periods, I guess you can pull a whole bunch of songs that do that, but I don't know. Maybe it was because there was a balance, or maybe because at that point in time, in the 60s and 70s, that just wasn't something that was mainstream. That was something underground. That was something that if they was doing it, you didn't know about it. You know what I mean? The general public didn't know about it if they was doing it like that. You know what I'm saying? You can always go find some obscure song, but that ain't the top joints that they play from that era. You know what I'm saying? What they be playing? RESPECT. Find out what it mean to me. You know what I mean? They'll be playing stuff like that, man. They'll be playing songs like Give Me Your Love by Curtis Mayfield. You know what I mean? The song Give Me Your Love by Curtis Mayfield is astounding to me. That is the epitome of soul to me. You know what I'm saying? I want to read the lyrics to this song, as a matter of fact. Like, that's how dope the song is to me, that I gotta read the lyrics, man. I gotta read the lyrics to show you what I'm talking about. I ain't gonna be able to tell you. I got to show you what I'm talking about, man. So let's read the lyrics real quick, man. Give me your love, right? I want you so, babe, can't even get mad at you. I gotta sing it. I can't just say I gotta sing it, 'cause it sound better. What a thing, you really swing, and I feel so good, it's true. You're such a gun, make my lungs sigh, breathing in the air. Through loving you, I really know, child, just how much I care. Give me your love. Preparing for tomorrow, you do what you have to do. I'll share the weight, whatever fate plans to bring to you. Don't worry about no attitude, you just be yourself. Could live without you in solitude and need no one else. Give me your love. Now, of course, the song, the beat, everything that go with it just give you this aura, give you this vibe, and it's just so soulful. Even like people's favorite producer, well, one of people's favorite producers, Kanye West, came out in the game with the soul beats, right? Which, in my opinion, is what really pushed Jay-Z's career into the stratosphere, when he was able to rap over them soul beats. Now Kanye, coming from Chicago, a very soulful city. You know what I'm saying? But New York is also a very soulful city. You know what I'm saying? You could say the same for Detroit, maybe LA, you know what I'm saying? St. Louis, Kansas City, you know what I'm saying? Down in Mississippi, you know what I mean? The blues and whatnot. But I can't really speak for Florida or Miami, because I don't know enough about Miami, Florida, or Florida culture in general to know if they had an element of soul music or soul singers that came from their region. If they did, just comment, you know what I'm saying? Put them in the name some soul singers or soulful music that came out of Miami, Florida, and then ask yourself how you went from that to spin that shit. You know what I'm saying? Just the same, I can ask how we go from the Chicago blues and Junior Wells and Buddy Guy to drill music. You know what I'm saying? Sosa, Louis, Dirk, and the rest of them. You know what I mean? And you can see how that happened. You know what I'm saying? You can see how the gang culture overtook the soul culture, where it wasn't about connecting with people socially, spiritually, or through the soul. You know what I'm saying? It was about taking advantage of people who appeared weak. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't just survival of the fittest, because if you ask me, they lived through a rough time back then. You know what I'm saying? Where they didn't have money like that. They weren't able to eat all the foods that people eat today, these comfort foods. They ate soul food. You know what I'm saying? They weren't able to go to all of these places that everybody can pick up and just go to, man. There's so many people with passports, so many people who travel on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying? So many people who are able to just spend that shit in a way that they wasn't back then, but they had more camaraderie. They was closer to each other. You know what I'm saying? House parties was popping. You know what I'm saying? You would go to a joint and it's like somebody's basement or some big house or something like that there. Where now the house party gonna get shot up. So we knew, like, that's one of the things in the street. Like, you ain't going to no house party. Not in Chicago, not like that. Now, you'll go to your people in them crib for something like that, but if it's like a house party or something, niggas ain't going to that. I know these shorties, they'll go to a block party or something, or they'll go to something on some teen takeover type time, and it's a whole bunch of them, but you be hearing about what be going on. People know what happens in Chicago. Oh, Memorial Day weekend, 30 people were shot. You know what I'm saying? The 4th of July weekend, only 10 people were shot. It's like, man, shit, nobody got shot. If ain't nobody owed nobody no money. You know what I'm saying? If ain't nobody tried to harm somebody. Nah, just little petty stuff. You know what I'm saying? Bumping into somebody, you know what I'm saying? Or not liking the way somebody, do their thing is what's going to make you want to just add a crowd out. You know what I'm saying? Just spray everybody in the crowd because you hating. You know what I'm saying? Like, was hating a part of the culture? Or were there certain people in it who were ostracized because they was haters? So when you say like, nah, man, stuff like that been going on, they been making songs like that, it's like, yeah, was those people ostracized for it? Was those people exiled for it? You understand what I'm saying? Like, you would talk about like Megan Thee Stallion, you know what I'm saying? Young Miami, the city girl culture, that type of music. And then they're compared to like a Donna Summer or something, who was basically moaning and groaning on records. But that was something unique to her. And I really wonder if that was followed by an immediate replication, or the people who listened to it started to imitate or emulate her. You know what I'm saying? In everyday life. Because people already was promiscuous or having sex or doing their thing in that regard. So you making a song about love to love you and whatnot, and people, being sexually free, you know what I mean? Soon thereafter, you had people talking about safe sex and how to do it in a way that you're not hurting yourself or the person you're doing it with. You dig? But to get people to start stealing and boosting, knowing that jail is on the menu, you know what I mean? We're in a surveillance state. Everything is being recorded. You feel me? What's that thing they got going on where people is knocking down these surveillance systems, man? It's called something. Y'all ought to look this up, where it's these surveillance systems that the police use that, unbeknownst to you, is recording everything everybody doing. And all they got to do is show you, yeah, this is what you did. You know what I mean? And you damn sure know that any store you go into got cameras. Like, I saw a video of some girl, her and her mama, they the thieving duo. Mama and daughter duo of thieves, right? Went into this store. I forgot what store it was, Dior or something. I don't know. And dude behind the counter turned around for a second. She done grabbed the bag and slipped it on her wrist so quick. You dig? And then they went and stole some other bags and literally got on camera on TikTok listening to this song and showing off the bags that they just stole, and was like, bald head and everything. Looked like, y'all ever saw that TV show, The Dinosaurs, with the mama, the daddy, the son, the daughter, and the little baby dinosaur? Looked it like one of them. Looked like a dinosaur puppet, bald head, fat in the face. You did look like a brontosaurus with a tail or something. And as long as they had them bags, they didn't care nothing about how they represented themselves. They care nothing about how deplorable not only their behavior is, but the way they look is repulsive. Now, I see this quite often, man. Not saying that back in the day you didn't have, some overweight going on, but it wasn't really as prevalent like that, man. You know what I'm saying? We not a big back culture. We didn't have big back culture where everybody was big backs. You know what I'm saying? So it was this episode of Wild It Out when I was young growing up. This when D-Ray, Corey Holcomb, Afion Crockett, Cat Williams was all on Wild It Out back there, right? So they used to have this thing where they did like a fashion show with the audience. Why this girl walk through the line, right? And Corey say you can play spades on her back. Because her back was this big. You better get over there, that fat bitch. But anyway, we done had this big back culture, man. They was dancing, they was doing the boogaloo and shotgun, shoot 'em. They was on Soul Train, man. They was pop locking, man. They was actually dancing and sweating at the same time. They was working off all of that weight. You dig what I'm saying? Not saying that they didn't steal. Of course they stole. They stole to get something to eat, though. You dig? If you boosting to get some money, right? Is you spending that money on food and clothing and shelter for you and your children? You know what I'm saying? Or is you boosting stealing so you can go wed somewhere and show off to somebody about what you done stole? Because I'm not seeing the difference. I'm not seeing that being differentiated. I'm not seeing old girl or nobody defending her song speaking about it in the context of this is for survival. It's so messed up out here. We can't survive. We got to steal and rob and hustle and this, that, and the other. Because after that quote unquote soul culture exploded and you had Soul Train and, you know what I'm saying, everything going on like that and afros and colorful things and stylish people and they was making money. Don't get it messed up. The 70s was, you know, economically successful. People was making money. You dig? They wasn't stealing just to go show off for somebody. They was working. You dig? It was a work culture associated with black culture, with black people. You know what I'm saying? We worked. And not saying that people don't work now. They do. I'm one of them. But what I'm saying is you wouldn't know that if you paying attention to what's going on out here. And a lot of it do boil down to the internet and internet culture. You know what I'm saying? And for the most part, that's pretty much what people talking about. You know what I'm saying? Where they like, well, get off the internet. Woo out the band. This is the internet. I'm playing a character for the internet. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, this is the Matrix. We understand. You plugged into the internet. You got an avatar. It's not real. But at what point do the internet start to affect real life? You dig what I'm saying? At what point do everything that's going on the internet start to have widespread implications in real life? For example, the Shiesty mask, Pooh Shiesty mask. You didn't see Pooh Shiesty mask a whole bunch on the street before you saw it on the internet. You didn't. That's why it's called Pooh Shiesty. That's why we call it the Pooh Shiesty, because you saw him in so many videos or whatever, he wouldn't take it off. You know what I'm saying? But to be honest with you, it wasn't really him that wouldn't take it out. What's that boy? That boy that went crazy. What's that boy name that went crazy, man, and stole somebody's car? What up? It's time to start. Fuck him up. What's Shorty name? I don't even know what Shorty name is, but Shorty wouldn't take it off. I'm talking about Shorty had that, and his shiesty mask was saggy. He had a baggy shiesty. That's how much he done stretched and pulled on it so much that it didn't even cover his mouth no more. It like hung past his lip. You dig? What's the other boy? Vaughn on 1700. He wears shiesty masks all the time too. But what I'm saying is you didn't see that just everybody walking around with one first. And then it started to pick up. Nah, you saw it on the internet and it exploded quick, lightning speed. Whereas back in the day, you ain't had no internet. So it had to be really organic from the street. It had to be really organic from what people was wearing and what people was into. And then that caught fire. And so you had white folks asking, man, what is soul? Like, they didn't know what soul was because that was something among the brothers and sisters or something among the people. You know what I mean? And they wouldn't really explain to him what it was because it's more of a feeling. So they would describe to him how it, you know, how they participated in it. You know what I'm saying? And it was in everything. You know, it was in the way I walk, man. It's in the way I talk, man. You know what I mean? Woo, woo, woo. And once they was able to define soul, then they was able to, you know, steal from it and do as they do. And, you know, that's what they do. But just getting back to it, right? If the culture is soul, or if the culture paradoxically shifted to something else and what we see today, then you want to call that black culture, then what is the antithesis of black culture? What is the antithesis of spin that shit? And you don't have to necessarily put it in that paradigm. You can showcase it in other ways, right? Because anytime something like this come up, right, and people are challenging it, you know what I'm saying, or talking down on it, or saying like, hey, we shouldn't do this, you will have somebody, not just one, but a whole bunch of fools that'll come out and say, well, white people do this and that too. Anything that's going on with black folk, you got somebody that got to interject white folk in it and talk about what white folk do. You dig what I'm saying? White folk do this too. They steal. Okay, so How many songs they got on the radio where they talking about what they done stole, why they stole it, and what they finna go do after they done stole it? How many songs they got? Right? How many songs or videos could you point to of they kids doing it in front of them, of a white artist talking about the same subject matter? Because y'all will show videos of some little white boy, some little white girl somewhere in their room listening to this song and dancing to it with their little buddies. But you know they ain't doing it in front of their mamas and daddies. You know they not. They white mamas and daddies is finna say, turn that off. I remember I was younger and it was some white girls that we knew. And I think they was cheerleaders or something, right? And they played, what song was it? It might have been Chinky Right There. Like, that's how long ago it was, right? They might have been listening to it. I like the way you do that right there. And they was cheerleaders. It's supposed to be what they was there to. That white boy came out, said, turn that off, and whoop, whoop, out the bam, made them go in the house. Because he didn't want his little girls out there shaking their behind talking about doing that right there. And that ain't even about stealing. That's just dancing. It's just dancing in general. You dig what I'm saying? They not going to do it in front of their mamas and daddies. That's why they go out, go crazy, go buck wild, and do a whole bunch of stuff in college or whatever, because they not around that environment to where they got to watch how they behave. But when they go back to that environment, every time they're around, they know how to act. They know how to behave. So don't bring them up every time something come up with us where we challenging the kids doing it and they mamas and daddies standing right there and championing it, or telling them how the lyrics really go and recording them and applauding and yelling and carrying on. It's not the same environment. It's not the same reaction. You know what I'm saying? It's not the same response. And it's not even a teaching moment, because you can use it as a teaching moment, right? And honestly, that's what it's going to have to be for those of us who got dignity and pride and got self-worth and self-value, right? Or who sees value in what soul is. Because I love music. You know what I'm saying? I'm an entertainer. I'm an artist. I'm a musician. I love music. All kinds of different music. You know what I'm saying? Now, being a rapper, hip-hop was my first love. I fell in love with rap and hip-hop when I was a little boy. It made me want to rap. And just about any and every song you could think of, I done heard it, rapped it, repeated it, all that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not above it when it comes down to engaging in that part of the culture. But what I'm saying is I love the blues too. You know what I'm saying? I love soul music, R&B. I love jazz. I love some rock and roll too. I love all aspects of the music that we created, because I don't neglect one for the other. And that's the other part of it. Y'all will neglect the good parts for the bad and then justify the bad based on something else that happened without acknowledging the good parts. And it's subjective as to what's good and what's bad. You know what I mean? Somebody might think it's bad to know how to read for whatever reason. You know what I mean? Some think it's bad if you speak with a proper vernacular. You know what I'm saying? Or if you have great diction when you talk. They think something wrong with that. They want you to sound slow and dumb. You know what I'm saying? Don't pronounce your words in a way that other people can understand. Now, if I'm sitting around and I'm talking to my homeboy, yeah, we're going to talk in a way that a lot of people can't understand, because I'm talking to him. You dig? But if I'm talking to a larger audience, or I'm talking to a different group of people, I want everybody to be able to know what I'm saying. You have some people that look down on that. So what's good and what's bad is subjective depending on who you talk to. It's bad. You talking white. Nah, I'm just pronouncing my words to where people who listening to my broadcast know what I'm saying. Because if they can't understand me, why would they listen? You dig what I'm saying? And it ain't always got to be for somebody in particular. You just make it digestible for as many people as you can. And I don't know if you can digest and justify stealing in a way, or just the other bad parts of the culture, right? That people want to amplify and they love to bring up what white folk do. And so when you ask about what white artists or this, that, they'll bring up some Johnny Cash song, or they'll bring up, a heavy metal band who talk about suicide and killing each other. Now, let's dissect that for a little minute. Is that a part of white culture? You know what I'm saying? They music, not stealing and robbing and killing and shooting and whatnot, but self-harm. You know what I'm saying? Killing theyself. Hurting somebody's dog or something. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what else. Rape. What do they talk about in white songs, white heavy metal songs? I don't listen to headbanging heavy metal music like that, but I can only imagine some of the stuff they talk about. And so would that be considered white culture? Would you say the larger collective of white people is looking at that kind of music and saying, well, black people talk about this and that? I don't know, maybe. I doubt it, though. I'm not in them spaces. Or the Chinamen. What does Chinese music sound like? Only Chinese music I ever heard was in Rush Hour. Remember the part where he was getting on the boat and that lady was singing on that boat, eyes on one Tony. That's it. I'm sorry. If I come off as ignorant, I'll take that. I ain't never heard a Chinese song in my life. As far as Hispanic music, all I hear was bamba. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. I don't know these people's music, man. All I know is, as far as we concerned, people will use other people to justify the bad, but they won't use our good to justify something. And to me, that's the imbalance, and that's where it got to be fixed. You got to fix that. You know what I'm saying? And if Black Americans was born in a time before music was more explicit, then they would give you a different depiction of what Black culture was, and that same texture or complexion, but a completely different mentality. You know what I'm saying? You got the same, it could be blue-black or red bone yellow, and they would have a different quote-unquote culture of Black people at that time compared to this time. You know what I mean? And my question as far as that is, what caused the culture to shift to a degenerate mentality? Yeah. What caused our culture to shift from freedom of expression, loving one another, calling each other brother and sister, to this degenerate mentality that we got where a nigga might call you brother, but he ain't called you brother. He shortened it. He called you bro. And bro ain't something that you should trust somebody off. And you shouldn't trust somebody who called you brother neither. I talked about that in one of my other episodes. Especially not a white boy or, some other culture calling you brother. You better look out. But what I'm saying is, what caused that culture to shift? It used to have soul because we was deprived of resources. You know what I'm saying? You didn't have something, so you would go to your neighbor and ask to borrow it. That was something that you could do back in the day. Can't do that now. You can't go ask to borrow some sugar. You know what I'm saying? Or some butter or some grease or something like that. You know what I'm saying? They ain't got it for you. You know what I'm saying? And so just the level of disdain that we have for each other and how people look at each other based on whatever their criteria is, whatever they want to base how they looking at each other, it's a complete different shift in mentality from how we is now and how they was then. And I just want to know what caused it and at what point. Now, they love to point to drugs. That's why the whole, your mama's on crack rock. But before crack rock, you had heroin. See, Black American people, this is a history lesson, didn't really do drugs in mass like that prior to the 1970s. You dig? During the 1960s and what's called the Civil Rights Movement, it was so much dust being kicked up and so many emotions being stirred and so much pride and revolution taking place that there wasn't no time for drug use or people who engaged in degenerate type of activities. Not saying that there wasn't a certain element. There's always been an underworld, and we'll talk about that in one of my other episodes. I'm going to talk to y'all about the underworld, the overworld, and Middle Earth and what that means. But you've always had the underworld. It just wasn't amplified or it wasn't justified. It always had its place. You had your Bumpy Johnsons. You had your, what's the brother name? What's the brother name, man, that they never caught him, man? But you had your gangsters, you know what I'm saying? You had the criminal element, but that ain't got nothing to do with the larger collective because that wasn't something that was pushed and promoted. That was something that was a necessity based on a lack of resources. You know what I'm saying? Malcolm X was Detroit Red before he became Malcolm X. You understand what I'm saying? And there was something there to turn him into Malcolm X. Not like today. Not like a nigga go to jail today and turn into a Muslim. He get out, they still drinking, smoking, kicking it and rapping. You know what I'm saying? It's just a costume today. It's just something to wear or some identity for you to leech on and grift so that you can feel like you belong here. But it was real back then. And I just want to know what caused this cultural shift to happen. They like to blame drugs. But like I just told you, the 70s to me was the epitome of black soul. And they was on drugs. You know what I'm saying? If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying? Because Ray Charles was on drugs, right? What's the brother? What's the brother name, man? Yeah, man. Quincy Jones. I believe allegedly Quincy Jones had talked about his prior drug use. He was around back then. You did what I'm saying? Even I believe Curtis Mayfield, David Ruffin in the Temptations. That got a good ring to it, don't it? David Ruffin in the Temptations. Like, they always had drugs in the underworld, the criminal element, so you can't say that caused it to this degenerate mentality. I don't think it was drugs. And I don't think it was like the gangs either, because the 70s is when the gangs really kind of, exploded. Warriors come out to play. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's when you really, what was they called? The Black Spade Gang and all of like that. You know what I'm saying? Vice Lords and whatnot, and, disciples and everything like that. A lot of that stuff was spawned in the late 60s, early 70s, the Black Panther Party. But that was, the Crips. You know what I'm saying? Community Revolution in Progress or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Tell me what CRIP stand for, the acronym CRIP. I thought it was Community Resistance in Progress or Revolution in Progress, something like that. But they all started as offshoots of the Civil Rights Movement. And when the leaders were assassinated because the government declared war on Black America, you dig? Then killed all the civil rights leaders, the people who could lead the people who needed it at the time to be constructive and to be productive and to love each other and speak to each other in a certain way. So that energy carried into the 70s, where they still had that. But by the end of the 70s and going into the 80s, it just turned into a complete war zone. And that's where my parents really came up and grew up in the 80s. You know what I'm saying? My uncles and aunties and them, they came up in, the late 60s, or they came up in like the 70s and whatnot. But my parents themselves, they were the younger siblings. They came up in a different time, and, the 80s and the 90s, and they raised us, and, we born in the 90s, and so we ain't never knew a time of soul like that. But it was still fragments of it left over, because our parents was born in this time of soul. They was born in that epitome of soul in the 70s, and so they had it in them. And so they still had traces of it when we was born. The 80s and the 90s didn't remove it from it. As a matter of fact, most people will tell you that their other favorite musical time period, if not their favorite, see, mine is the 70s. And for me, the 90s is right after that. But most black people will tell you that the 90s was their favorite expression of music from a cultural standpoint, because we are talking about culture. And they'll tell you that the 90s is their favorite because you still had that element of soul there. You know what I'm saying? With the music, everything was soulful, you know what I'm saying? Just the culture in general, and the way we dressed, the way we talked. And I can't say everybody treated each other, but there was still dignity, man, because our grandparents were still around. You know what I'm saying? Them people born in the 20s and 30s and whatnot, they were still around. And so there was still this level of shame that was still there, where you didn't act a certain way around grandmama and them. The way that I described, where the white folks, check this and check that, today still, we did that. You know what I'm saying? Where you couldn't cuss in front of your mama and them. You couldn't even say lie. You had to say, he telling stories. Y'all remember that? When you can't say, he lying on me, you would get popped for that. Don't say lie. He telling the story. You had to talk a certain way because it was still that level of respect there. You know what I'm saying? Where they didn't allow us to do and say certain things, to where now they're encouraging their kids to do it. They telling them to do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to show y'all a video. Matter of fact, let's show it right now. I don't even want to wait, man. I think I got this video, man. Let's hope I got this video. Yes, I do. Yeah, I got it, man. I got it. This is what they teaching them.
Attitude. Do you need that? Now walk off. You thought you ate. Attitude.
Yo, what's up?
Now walk off.
Bye.
Attitude.
You can set up.
Now walk off.
Girl,
Attitude.
you won't look in my face.
Now walk off. Attitude.
Girl, bye. I could stop 15.
Now walk off.
Look at what they teaching them, little girl. Look. Look at them cheering. This a restaurant. And it looked like a nice restaurant. Now look at everybody else who's sitting there watching them. And look at this overgrown, big back, silverback gorilla. What is she doing? And that's supposed to be all right, because it's somebody's birthday. I don't know, homie. I'm just saying, dog. Like, I don't know, homie. Went from making sure you didn't cuss and say certain things to telling you attitude. You better get out of my face. Whatever them little girls just said. Why they training them girls to be combative? You know what I'm saying? And to be contentious and what? Why is you teaching them that? Man, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. When I was a little boy, we talking about the 90s now. When I grew up, mama knew to take pictures and they'll be holding a brick wall. So what? Y'all seen it. Matter of fact, even if you weren't born in the 90s, juvenile video, slow motion, they was doing it in that video where they'll hold the wall and turn around. Y'all know y'all mamas and them got them pictures where they'll hold it. So look, if they was really old, they'll hold the wall with both hands. They'll hold it with both hands and be looking back. Or they'll just do the hand on the hip because they showing off their body. And they'll have a little girl take a picture and then tell the little girl put her hand on her hip. Now, if her daddy was around, he'd smack her hand down, tell her get your hand off your hip, you acting fast. It was a time where they'd stop that and say, stop that, you acting fast, because it's no little girl should be trying to act like a grown woman and put themselves in a position to potentially be taken advantage of by a sick, perverted grown man who don't deserve to live. You don't blame the child for that. You blame the sick, perverted man who done it. But why would you put them in the mouth of a shark? Why would you put them in the lion's den by having them act like that without telling them what could happen to them and not giving them the protection, but waiting until after it happened and then reacting to it? That's sabotage. You setting them up. You setting them up if you put them out there like that, knowing that it probably happened to you when you was a little girl. So why would you be teaching them to hold the ball or to put their hand on their hip in a picture or to be talking and behaving like this? And I want to keep going, man. Let's react to some more videos surrounding this song, because it's so many people talking about this song and everything that's surrounding the controversy of this song that you can't leave it out. You dig what I'm saying? Now, there's a fella named Trick Daddy. Obviously, we know who Trick Daddy is, and Trick Daddy had something to say about this song. Now, Trick Daddy is on the side of people who saying that they been doing stuff like this. Y'all leave that girl alone. They just having fun. We should be able to have fun. Now he's attacking India Arie because India Arie came out and challenged people who are advocating for this song, especially calling it Song of the Summer and pushing it and saying like, what are we doing? That's all she's saying is like, what is we doing? You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, let's get to the Trick Daddy video.
I deleted the last live. And I have some more shit to say. I got some more shit to say. I deleted the last live. I'm coming back. But I got more shit to say.
And it's a long video. We're not gonna listen to the whole video, man, because I don't want to listen to the whole
I got
thing.
more shit to say.
I do want to hear what he finna say about older women, because he making this an old versus young thing. I don't know why he making it an old versus young thing. I think it's certain people in the culture.
Got the hardest record in the fucking world. Not just the country. The hardest record in the world. They singing this shit in China, in Russia, Ethiopia.
I ain't seen it, but he say so.
Shout out to Young Miami. One of the baddest shit, the finest little shit in the game right now.
Okay, let me stop it right there. Shorty, she alright. She decent. But you not finna sit up and be talking about how pretty she is. She's so pretty. She bad. She fine shit. She fine shit. Why you talking like Shorty now? Stop talking like the kids. Y'all wasn't saying fine shit when you was coming up. Just say fine. She fine. She decent. Whatever y'all said back then. You know what I'm saying? You trying to hip yourself too much. And it's hot as hell. You got that skull cap on, homie. She ain't that good looking to me,
old bitch is not one fuck to be giving how you feel about this young girl and her son. all the negative music that come out, you want to simply try to target a young black female that's doing something positive, that's in her bag right now. You talking about a bag when she put out certain...
I'm sorry, I gotta keep stopping this. What is you talking about? What's positive? What is she doing positive? You saying she doing positive things. I want you to just count it out, list it out for me. Go down the line of the positive things she doing. I know you ain't talking about the song is positive. No, just because it's catchy and it's saying like Barney and Friends don't mean that it's positive. It's very negative because you're going to end up going to jail.
She was talking about her over and over again, a situation with who the nigga she was dealing with. Everything y'all get on this fucking internet and act like y'all like is all peaches and cream. But I know you old bad breath smelling ass bitches. I know you bitches. I know you. I know you mad. I know you hoes mad and you jealous. You look at that young fine girl on that stage rocking these clubs each and every night, these appearances, these hosts. She dropping her hottest single out there. You know, Miami, you better not let these old ragged ass bitches deter nothing you trying to do.
All right, so he's saying that they hating on her. He's saying they hating on her because she outside doing shows and making money. And you would have to know their financial situation to say that and be like, yeah, that's why, look, she broke, she ain't got no money. Now, if you talking about Arie is a Grammy Award winning artist. I don't know her finances like that, though. I don't know Young Miami finances neither. Like, how you know how much money somebody making, or if they making money, or if whatever they making is, you know, they comfortable with. You know what I'm saying? Because she ain't say nothing about money or about as far as like, you know, Miami doing performances of the song, just asking what's going on, and he doing some of everything except addressing what's actually being challenged. What's actually being challenged is what's being said and how that can lead to problems if people ain't looking at it through the proper perspective, right?
That's why I don't fuck you old bitches. That's why I would not fuck one of you old bitches because the game done passed you by, bitch. You still stuck in the motherfucking 50s and the 60s. I don't want no old bitch with no gray hairs on the pussy. Let me explain something to you hoes. You hoes want to be celibate. You hoes, I'm celibate. I got my LLC and my credit score 800. Stick your 800 credit score up your ass and your LLC ain't making no motherfucking money, bitch. You don't have a customer, a product to sell. All your shit is bullshit. Get you some money, however you do. Stop getting on here talking bad about your fellow black woman that's making money. Music ain't for everybody. If you don't like it, bitch, turn off your radio, close and cancel your subscription to all your social media sites.
Man, blood so congested. Y'all get it though. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna stop it right there. Y'all get it. Homie basically saying like, and then he used the whole woman thing against him because it's not just women though, homie. You know what I'm saying? It's not just women who got something to say about this, who don't agree with this song. And I don't think it's just women with 800 credit scores at LLCs. Honestly, I think a lot of them like the song. Because the culture has shifted to a degenerate mentality. So the people that you singling out, they not even the ones that's really talking bad about the song. I don't even think it's them. I don't even think you really got a real understanding of it, because at the end of the day, she from where you from. And that's why I wanted to know, like, who the soul artist to come out of Miami. Like, what kind of soul music, if they ever produced it, you know what I'm saying? That when did that shift to the Uncle Luke's and the Trick Daddies and now the City Girls and Young Miamis? Like, when did that happen? You dig? I saw a video from Hitmaka. He was sitting and he was talking to who he was talking to. Who he was talking to. Hitmaka was talking to Paul Pierce now.
Yeah, we gotta go to the store, get some champagne, get something, man. Get it up, man.
No, but what I will say is like, yeah, historically, like, I haven't been with like super famous men or anything. But we're okay. So
Can I pull you up on charges?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna tell you what men don't like, right?
Okay.
And I see you and I watch, and I'm a fan, you know what I'm saying? I watch the show or whatever, and like you got really valid points, and like I think that you're an attractive woman. I was actually like riding with you, like, yo, let's give her the benefit of the doubt, because that was my manly shame weighing in on me. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, like, you can't keep looking at women the same way. Like, she's speaking up this and a third. But then, like, I seen you in a car doing the spin that shit with your ass in the air in an SUV, and I was like, damn. It's not the same person that's on the pod. You know what I'm saying? That's not the ugly man. No money spend it. You don't have nothing to spend on.
But also too, I will say, when I go out, I will dance. I love to dance.
You went out. You was in
a
SUV.
car. But the point is if I'm I'm a dancing.
And you put it on your gram though.
The spin that shit dance. Yeah. It wasn't my ass shaking though. I did not put my ass shaking on the ground, but trust me.
Up, but
nah, they wouldn't. I would never put that. I was dancing. Young Miami posted it. It was like, I remember you comment on that.
Yeah.
Because I was like this, spend that shit. But I wasn't my body, my ass. It was literally just me like this.
Well, why would you trying to justify it?
Well, I love that song. I can't lie to you. Spend that shit was cracking because that's what you saw.
Though.
He commented on it. I was in the car.
He said he
and I was
liked the song
spend
too.
that shit. Spend that shit. I was dancing. Young Miami posted it. I added her. You know what I'm saying?
You want to get reposted?
No, I don't care about getting reposted, please. I don't care.
No,
about
I'm
that.
not saying that.
But the point is I love the song. No,
what about the man that's watching you on this platform? Like, yo, this is a bad bitch. This is what the definition of. She know what she doing, and then you go and you're having your fun, and you. Because my thing is, I don't post nothing that I do in my personal life on social media. Because I might be doing the spin that shit dance with you. I might be spending some money on you doing that shit. But they'll never see that. You can't contradict what the energy you putting out.
Okay, but you want to know.
You living a double life. You 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
That's
you
not
1 foot
true.
in the dope game and 1 foot in
That's not true. So I can't.
So what he talking about is that quote unquote sophisticated, affluent woman who Trick Daddy was just talking about with the 800 credit scores and your LLZs. But like I was just saying, they listening to the song too. And what Hitmaka Young Berg is saying, like, you can't have 1 foot in, 1 foot out where you want to be respected, but you also putting yourself out there like that on your Instagram, that the guy who might potentially be interested in you, he gonna see that.
Checking my ass. I was sitting down. I will pull this up. Darnell, make sure in the edit I'll send the video.
Pull this up right now.
I'll send the video to you when I
want to
was
see
doing it.
this.
I heard it.
That's like whole behavior, though. Like the whole premise of the song is whole behavior. Right?
Yeah.
The premise of the song is whole behavior, but it's not.
Let's see.
What?
This is the video, nigga.
It's the video, huh?
That's the video.
That's the video.
She look lame as hell.
That's a hoe?
She low key lame as hell. A lot of y'all be lame the whole time.
Like, come on, Paul.
But what you saying though?
What you saying though?
I'm just singing a song that I like.
It's just a song to her.
That's all I did. That's crazy.
Okay, we ain't gotta go through all of it, man. Like, y'all get it. She's saying it's just a song to her. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing serious. But he's saying, like, it's not just a song. And that's what I was talking about when I started the show. Is that'll be my homegirl. You know what I'm saying? She kind of lame and goofy, so I don't know about her particularly, right? But those that's interested in that, I ain't knocking it. Nor is I'm saying that you bogus. I'm just saying, like, I can't take you serious for real because I see your mentality. I see what you actually into. I see what you actually value, what you put your eggs in that type of basket. I can't look at that and say that I want to procreate with that or I want to make something with that. You know what I'm saying? You just be a homegirl for me. But it's so many of these videos I don't want to stop. I ain't gonna bap. I don't want to stop. So now, the spin that shit culture, right? The people who are under that. It's another video, and this happened in Miami right now. Miami promoter going viral. He was giving a group of women some honest advice before they got in the club, letting them know that the way that they dress, you not gonna really be able to get up in this type of club because they got a strict dress code. But I'm sure that they following the influencers and the Young Miamis or whatever, and they dressing like this. But listen to what he got to say.
Step right here. Let me check y'all. Before y'all get denied, he's not gonna tell you why you getting denied, but I'm gonna tell you so that you guys can fix this. First of all, your outfits are cute. This is Miami. Heels, dresses. Okay? Yeah, no, that's cool. I'm just letting you know. I appreciate y'all understanding that. Y'all may not get in here with y'all dress code, but there's plenty of other places you can go. You come to places like Mona, big artists, South Beach clubs, stuff like that. Y'all gotta dress classy. That ain't going. Them shoes, I don't know why you stepped out of them. You get what I'm saying? So, you're welcome.
Let them know what's up. He let them know what's up, man. He straight up told them, man, like, classy, heels and a dress. They was like, we ain't wearing no dresses. You ain't even gonna be able to get in. You know what I'm saying? That's a part of that. Like, why? What's so wrong with at least dressing and act? They gonna play the song when you get in there. They gonna play all the songs. They gonna play Ski. They gonna play what's the other joint? What's what he said? I'm a real hoe or something. They gonna play all the whole music y'all like. You know what I'm saying? At that point, you done already got in, but you can't even get in the game with the way you dress. You know what I'm saying? You can't even get in the game with the way you dress. And, you know, this is the India Arie post. And I'm gonna make sure I put this post in there. And she says, I finally realized that not everybody wants to get free, and it was very, very, very rude awakening. Shake my head. There you go. There you go. Now, a producer decided to take her critiquing people's responses or reactions and mixing it with her beat from her song video. I'm not going to play it. It's kind of lame and whack and corny. You know what I'm saying? The way he dancing in the studio with a bunch of other dudes, they all look suspect if you ask me. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I ain't really rolling with it like that, you dig? But people are giving their opinions on this, man. And it's a whole bunch of opinions that's being given. But I want to listen to what this young lady had to say in response as a millennial, because they'll have you thinking that our whole generation is down with this.
You are allowed to like what you like. But the second you start trying to argue universal laws and scientific theories, I tap out because I'm about to start calling you an idiot. I'm sorry. And unfortunately, those who I see defending spin that tooth and nail, they're kind of proving my point. Because why did the Breakfast Club post that clip of Trick Daddy literally insulting India Arie? He wasn't adding anything to the conversation. He wasn't giving any advice. He was literally just insulting her. Because that's what stupid people do when people challenge their ideas. They revert to insults and anger, right? Because they're still using their amygdala. Trick Daddy is a 60-something-year-old man with the mindset of a teenager. We don't want to hear what you have to say. And I'm mad that the Breakfast Club even played what he said. Same with Uncle Luke. Y'all have the same mindset you had when you were in your 20s. Keep it. We don't want to hear what y'all have to say. Like, Gen X, stop speaking for us. If y'all have not done the work, if y'all have not read a book, if y'all have not gone to therapy, we don't want to hear what y'all have to say, like, quite literally. That's honestly why I don't listen to a lot of these hip-hop podcasts, because it's coming from these Gen Xers with outdated takes and mindsets.
So let me pause it right there. That's a great point. It's a lot of the Gen X, that Generation X, who are speaking as if this is what the youth want. You heard what Trick Daddy said, that lead them young girls, you know, you old wood out the bam. Here's a young woman who is telling you straight up that that's not what we want to hear. And honestly, a lot of the challenges that I've been seeing ain't just coming from like baby boomers or like older people. It's coming from a lot of people in the Gen X. Not Gen X, I'm sorry, millennials. You know what I'm saying? Those of us in our 30s, you know what I'm saying, that don't agree with this because we saw what Freak Nick and Big Booty Holes, we saw what all of that, you know, hands on the wall and all that like that did to our mamas and aunties and uncles and whatnot. And we decided that we was going to go in another direction. You did what I'm saying? Reading books, gaining knowledge. She said therapy, you did what I'm saying? And you see a lot of millennials who will accept therapy and things of that nature before people who are quote-unquote Generation X would. And it's leading to a more healthy and prosperous life and a greater understanding of a larger collective, not just me. But let's finish our video.
These are same generation of people who let R. Kelly marry a child. These are the same generation of people who will die defending P. Diddy. We keep it. Gen X is always trying to keep the new generation stuck in the past, repeating these old cycles. Look at what the hell Trick Daddy looked like. Like, I guess he was living his raps. We don't want that for ourselves. We don't want to be 60 on the internet insulting women. We don't want to be 60 still having to pay for coochie because we're not likable. We have no type of character development. And I'm proud of millennials for even having the conversation because that is what art is meant to do. So I give Carisha her flowers for that. Art is meant to spark a reaction. It's meant to be critiqued. They critiqued Michael. They critiqued Beyonce. Y'all was critiquing Kendrick. But notice the difference in the response.
That's facts. Hold on. You see that a lot. People will critique Kendrick in whether or not he is pro-black or whether his music is uplifting or revolutionary or whatever. And the brother just making his own art was natural to him. You know what I'm saying? Giving his own, telling his story. You know what I'm saying? Giving his representation of how he feel and think in society today. And they'll go at that and be trying to take his head off and say, yeah, woo, woo, woo. But as soon as you say something about this type of music, they don't critique it the same way. Let's finish.
Graphic. Or the type of music you're critiquing. The second you critique a specific type of music, these people turn into victims.
That's the manipulation.
They revert to insults and anger and emotions because they're not smart. If you can't even have a conversation about art on the internet, I know you're insufferable in real life. India is a Grammy Award-winning artist. She has every right to speak on music and art because music and art is meant to be critiqued. And instead of just listening to the critique, having a difference in opinion, you want to convince us that media doesn't have the power to persuade. That it's not that deep. It's not that deep things that people have died and dedicated their entire lives to studying. There are whole fields of study
I can't stand that.
On the things
it's not that deep. It is. Shut up.
I think a lot of people suffer from the third party theory. If you don't know what that is, look it up. Where you think that media doesn't have as much as an effect on you. Like you think that you're special and you're different. And it don't affect me. If media doesn't have the power to persuade, why y'all all look the same? Why did you buy that specific brand?
Exactly.
Why did you decorate your home the way you did? What is a trend?
Followers.
How did Trump become the president? Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, it is okay just to say you want to turn.
We get it. You know what I'm saying? We get it, man. We get it. And it's like, you can look at somebody who is saying that this is a good thing. You can look at somebody saying this is a bad thing. You can look at, somebody saying, well, I only like the song. But somebody else is speaking on this from a much deeper level. We're going to get into this young lady right here who is going to go real deep about this. Talking about it's not that deep. It's always that deep. She tweaking.
CIA, Lil Yachty CIA, Sexy Red is CIA, and then they talk about Homeboy, who's a comedian. That's whatever his name he worked for Israel. So anyway, you're showing your cards. We're playing poker. Why do you keep showing your cards? Spin that shit. All your subconscious mind. Spend it.
She tweaking.
Consume.
She tweaking.
Buy more. Women are the top dog consumers of this fucking planet. Women buy. Spin. You know what I'm saying? So it's like getting into our subconscious mind. Boosting ass bitches, yes. Put your hand in the Goyard bag. You trying to push boosting. And in the movie I Love Boosters, why are you keep trying? Oh, Boosters been a thing, Rachel. I know Boosters been a thing, but they're promoting it. Don't you understand? Because right now the divine feminine is waking up, okay? That's why they keep putting X's in the skies.
She one of them earthy hoes.
I keep telling you guys this. You're not getting it.
I like her though.
Putting X's in the sky.
This is a spiritual sister right here.
Twitter is now X. Understand? Tesla is the shape of a uterus. understand?
This is for you. It's not that deep crowd.
Okay, so they're putting X's in the skies because they understand that the divine feminine is about to wake up. What do you mean? What are you talking about? Well, the sun is getting hotter. Like I have explicitly said before in many of my videos, the solar flares is the come, and it's coming down to wake up the DNA of Mother Nature. Do you understand that? Do you understand that?
She could be my homegirl.
She's going through changes and shifts, and it's changing and shifting our DNA, especially the melanated woman. The woman with the mitochondria Eve DNA, remember? Yeah, we're gonna push boosting, we're gonna push scamming ass bitches stuff, so that way we can lock these bitches up. We're gonna lock these bitches up. We're gonna lock these bitches up so they can lock down the divine feminine. We don't want the divine feminine to wake up. We don't want the Sophia consciousness, divine feminine energy to wake up, give judgment to every bastard that's been doing us wrong here in our presence, right? So we're gonna lock these bitches up so that way we can lock down the divine feminine so she won't wake up, so she won't wake up that Leviathan, so she won't wake up that Kundalini, so she won't wake up that crown chakra. They have tried everything to lock it down. Can't you understand? Can't you see? And you falling for the shit. Talk about some spend that shit. Consume, buy, spend it, more. A gerbil wheel, hamster wheel, 9 to 5, punch a clock, keep going, spend it, buy. Ain't you tired? Ain't you tired? Ain't you tired? Ain't
funny.
You tired? And they can't get it over me because I see right through the shit. That for those who have eyes, let them see. For those who have ears, let them hear. For those who have an open brain, their mind's not sealed shut, let them receive the information and seek the knowledge. You know what I'm saying? You're not trying to
Through the knowledge.
You just going back to sleep. Like scripture says, 300 men saw him rise and 300 men went back to sleep. But 300, 500, I don't know. They went back to sleep. You know what I'm saying? Well, what can we do about it? There's nothing we could do about it. There's nothing we could do about it.
Oh, I hate
sounds
that.
like you don't know your constitution.
Yeah, there's nothing we could do
It's
about
all
it.
by design, ladies and gentlemen. It's all by design. The song is in your subconscious mind. So while you sleep, while you drive, while you eat, while you
That's
clean,
true.
you're thinking about spending shit.
Yeah.
Spending shit. Spending shit. Spending shit. Spend. And in order to spend, you have to continue to put in more labor, more work, more 9 to 5, more job, more job, more job.
Okay.
More
We
job,
get
more
it.
job,
We get
more
it,
job,
man.
more job, more death notes.
We get it, right? I can't keep going with her. She too funny. But we get it, right? That was for the It's Not That Deep crowd. I just had to show y'all just another level to the game, man. And, you know, she claims it's all CIA, and I don't think she's wrong there. And I got a video. Well, I'm going to do a show about that. I'm going to do a show about that at some point, right? Where that whole CIA theory can be explored, you know what I mean? But I think it's just something deeper than that, you know what I mean? And I want to play one more video. I want to play just one more video before I get up out of here, because to me, this video encapsulates what's going on right now and why a song like that is pushed, and what she was talking about as far as the divine feminine not being able to wake up. Now, this is a skit. This is supposed to be funny, but I just don't think it's funny at all, man. It's incestuous, if you ask me. And the energy from it is something that I see all too prevalent on the internet, where you have this mommy syndrome thing going on, and it could be a dude who is at a certain age, but he acts like his woman is his mama in a certain sense, and he her son. And to me, all of this is all connected, and you're not going to be able to stop it. But let's just watch this real quick, because I thought this was crazy. You know what I'm saying? We just reacting to videos today.
Turn the TV down.
Damn.
Get this stuff up off this floor. Fix your face.
This ain't her son. This her man, by the way.
Put some clothes on. They're gonna run to Popeyes real quick. And them shoes you were showing me last week, show me how to get on the internet so I can get them for you. You heard what I said? Fix your face if I give you a reason to look like that. Now get up, put your clothes on. Get that stuff. Up off this floor.
Just say you hate that.
I'm sorry, homie. I didn't have no mama. My mama didn't talk like that. I didn't like how she came in the room and everything. That was like some mama son type. You know what I mean? And that was disturbing. You know what I mean? And what I'm saying is that song ain't just on its own. That video go along with the song. That's what's going on out here. Like, that's the energy out here. Ain't nothing soulful about it. Ain't nothing dignified about it. You dig what I'm saying? There is no shame. You dig what I'm saying? And that's incestuous. That's disgusting. That's something that y'all are pointing. White folks, y'all are insert white folks here. Well, white folks do this and MILF porn and all of that. It's like, that's not justified. You justifying pornography, homie. That's sick. You know what I'm saying? And I think that goes along with the song, man. You know, I've seen enough of this to understand that ain't nothing you can do about none of this. You're not finna stop it. You know what I'm saying? The universe requires balance. So while you got people who are not for spin that, you're gonna always have people who is. You know what I'm saying? It's not to stop them from making songs like Spin That, or to stop them from making content that's incestuous and just disgusting and very low vibrational. It's for you to teach your kids, because you're not going to be able to affect their kids. Whatever you teach their kids or try to implement, they going to undo all of it and have them kids acting and walking backwards. You know what I mean? You have to really show and teach yours. You know what I mean? And if they came from you, then hopefully they take after you, but you still got to put in the work. You still have to tell them why they should stay away from that and stay away from people who engage in that. You dig what I'm saying? That's man, that was disgusting, man. I ain't gonna lie to you on that. I got to get up out of it. I ain't never seen nothing like that before, man. You know what I mean? Talking like that and behaving like that, and the way she was looking and everything, you know what I mean? The whole outfit, you know, the bonnet, the robe, the everything. You dig what I'm saying? If that is a 50-year-old woman, she 100% is listening to Spin That. But she ain't listening to it with a man her age. She listening to it with somebody young enough to be her son. And Trick Daddy sitting up there talking about he don't want to be with a woman his age. He want to be with somebody young enough to be his daughter. Now, that's Generation X for you. This millennial right here, I ain't down with it, man. Y'all can be down with it all you want to. I'm just going to know to stay away from you.